Here's what nobody tells you when you buy an electric vehicle. Charging is only half the equation. What you do the moment you unplug, how you handle the car in that first stretch after a charge, matters just as much as the charging habits themselves. Maybe more. You've probably done the responsible thing. You set your charge limit to 80%, you use scheduled charging, you avoid fast chargers for daily use. That's all correct. But when you unplug, jump in and floor it on the highway, or you charge it to 100% and let the car sit in the sun for 3 hours before you touch it, that's where the damage is happening. Quietly, consistently, right after the charge ends. In this video, we're going through exactly what you should never do after charging your EV and what to do instead. Some of these will change how you think about your battery permanently. Let's get into it. Why the moment after charging matters. Most drivers treat the end of a charge the same way they treat filling up a gas tank. You're done. You're full. You drive. Simple. But the battery state right after charging, especially at high percentages, is fundamentally different from how it behaves during normal driving. At the end of a charge cycle, your battery is sitting at its highest voltage state. The internal chemistry is under more stress than it is at 50% or 60% charge. And the way you treat the car in those first few minutes can either compound that stress or give the system a chance to stabilize. Think of it like a muscle right after an intense workout. It's done the hard work, it's under strain, and what you do in the recovery window determines how well it holds up over time. Push it immediately and the damage compounds. Give it a moment to settle and it bounces back stronger. Understanding this changes everything about how you handle your EV after it's done charging. Never accelerate aggressively at 100% charge. This is probably the most common post-charge mistake, and almost nobody talks about it. When your EV is sitting at or near 100%, three things are true simultaneously. Battery voltage is at its absolute highest, internal chemical stress across every cell is elevated, and regenerative braking is either limited or completely disabled because there's nowhere to push the recovered energy. That point alone could change how you drive right after a full charge. On a normal drive at 60%, when you lift off the handle, the motor acts as a generator and feeds energy back into the battery. That regen is partly what makes EVs so efficient in daily driving. But at 100%, the battery management system limits or shuts off regen because the cells are already full. You lose that safety buffer entirely. Now, add a hard launch on top of that. Maximum current demand, peak voltage state, no regen cushion. You're pulling hard on a battery that's already at its most vulnerable point in the charge cycle. It won't destroy your battery today. It won't even register as a noticeable event. But do it every morning for 3 years and you've added real measurable wear on top of everything else. The fix is simple. After charging, especially to high levels, drive smoothly for the first few miles. Light acceleration, gradual speed buildup. Let regen come back naturally as the charge level drops into a more comfortable range. It takes almost no discipline once it becomes a habit. Never leave it sitting at 100% for hours. This is the one that catches most people because it feels completely harmless. You set your charge limit to 100% because you have a long drive tomorrow. The car hits full charge at midnight, and then it just sits there, fully charged at peak voltage for 8 hours until you leave in the morning. That extended time at maximum state of charge is one of the most damaging things that can happen to a lithium-ion battery over the long run. Researchers call it calendar aging. The cells don't need to cycle. They don't need to be used at all. Time spent at high charge levels degrades them on its own. The same thing happens when you charge to 100% at work, park all day, and come back 8 hours later. Or when a trip gets delayed and the car sits fully charged for an afternoon you didn't plan for. High state of charge plus time equals accelerated chemical aging. That's the formula, and it plays out every time you charge to full and don't leave immediately. The solution is scheduled charging. Set your departure time in the app or directly in the car, and let the car work backward. If you're leaving at 7:30 a.m., tell the car to finish charging at 7 a.m. It reaches your target level and you're walking out the door minutes later. If you genuinely need 100% for range, road trips, long travel days, fine, but time it so the car hits full charge right before you leave, not hours before. Never ignore battery temperature after fast charging. DC fast charging is a thermal event. The battery gets warm, sometimes significantly warm, during a rapid charge session. That's normal. The thermal management system handles it. What's not normal is piling on aggressively right after. After a fast charge, the battery can be sitting anywhere between warm and genuinely hot. The cooling systems are still working. Internal stress is elevated from the charge rate itself. And the cells haven't had time to settle back into equilibrium. Jumping on the throttle and driving hard right after a DC fast charge compounds everything. Plus, heat from aggressive acceleration creates a thermal spike that pushes the battery into territory it really doesn't want to be in repeatedly. Studies have shown that consistent use of DC fast charging alone increases battery degradation compared to level 2 home charging. Add aggressive post-charge driving into the mix, and you're stacking stressors that add up fast over the life of the car. The better move is simple. After a fast charge, give the car 10 to 15 minutes of gentle driving before you push it. Low speeds, light acceleration, let the cooling system catch up and bring temperatures back toward the battery's comfortable operating range. You can still drive, just don't treat it like a drag strip. If you're parked after a fast charge, leave the car on. Many EVs will continue running the cooling fans after unplugging if the system still needs to shed heat. That's exactly what you want. Let it finish the job. And here's something most people never think about. Where you park after a fast charge matters too. Parking in direct sunlight right after a hot fast charge session is the worst possible combination. If you have a choice, pull into shade or covered spot and let the thermal system do its work without fighting against external heat at the same time. If you made it this far, make sure to hit the subscribe button to stay updated with the latest content. It helps a lot. Never forget that your range display is adaptive. Right after charging, especially to 100%, the range number on your display looks impressive. Maybe it says 280 miles, maybe 310, and that number feels like a promise. It's not a promise, it's an estimate. And it's calculated based on your recent driving behavior, current temperature, and a set of assumptions about how you're about to drive. The moment you floor it out of the driveway, blast the climate control to full, and merge straight onto the highway at 80 miles per hour, that number starts falling fast. And a lot of drivers see that drop and immediately think something is wrong with their battery. Nothing is wrong. The car is just reconciling its estimate with your actual behavior. Hard acceleration consumes far more energy than the estimate accounts for. Highway speeds dramatically increase aerodynamic drag. Climate control, especially heating in cold weather, is one of the biggest range killers in an EV. Stack all three in the first 10 minutes after a charge, and you'll watch that number drop like a stone. Understanding this matters for two reasons. First, it saves you from unnecessary anxiety about phantom battery problems. Second, it gives you real feedback on how your behavior affects efficiency. Drive smoothly out of a charge. Keep speeds moderate for the first few miles, and let the climate system precondition while the car is still unplugged, not after you unplug. Do those things, and your range estimate will hold far more accurately as you get underway. The smart habit after charging. Here's what a genuinely smart post-charge routine actually looks like in practice. Drive smoothly for the first few minutes, not slowly, just smoothly. Gradual acceleration, moderate speeds, no aggressive merges or hard launches. Let the battery drop out of its peak voltage state naturally before you start asking more of it. Let regen return on its own. It will come back as the state of charge decreases. Fighting that by accelerating hard before regen is available just adds unnecessary load to the system. After a fast charge, specifically, give the cooling system time to stabilize before driving hard. 10 minutes of calm driving is all it takes. If you charge to a high level, especially 100%, try not to let the car sit for hours before leaving. Time your departure to match the end of your charge cycle. Most EV apps make this completely automatic once you set a departure time. And precondition. While you're still plugged in, whether it's heating the cabin in winter or cooling it in summer, doing that on grid power before you unplug means you start the drive with a thermally stable battery and a comfortable cabin, without burning range to get there. None of this takes extra time. It's a slight adjustment to the sequence of how you leave after charging. Small habit, long-term payoff. The truth. EVs are durable, but habits matter. Here's the bottom line. Modern EV batteries are genuinely impressive pieces of engineering. A well-maintained pack can handle thousands of charge cycles before range becomes noticeably compromised. The battery almost certainly isn't going to be your biggest problem if you treat it with basic intelligence. But Tesla's own fleet data from hundreds of thousands of vehicles tracked over years confirms what battery researchers have long understood. Long-term degradation doesn't primarily come from driving hard. It doesn't come from the occasional fast charge. It comes from the accumulated small stressors during the moments the car isn't being driven. Sitting at full charge for hours, repeated aggressive launches right after charging, thermal spikes from fast charging followed immediately by hard acceleration. What makes this frustrating is that none of it feels damaging in the moment. Every single mistake in this video feels completely normal. It feels fine. The car responds. Nothing breaks. But the wear is happening anyway, deep inside the chemistry of the cells, in ways you won't feel until it's already done. Charging your EV isn't the risky part. What you do in the first few minutes after charging is where the habits that actually matter live. The owners who got to 100,000 miles with batteries still holding strong didn't do anything extraordinary. They charged smart. They left shortly after finishing. They drove gently until the system stabilized. And they let the car's own tools, scheduled charging, preconditioning, thermal management, do the work. That's it. No special equipment, no expensive maintenance. Just the right habits applied consistently. You now know exactly what those habits are. Drop a comment below telling me which of these you are doing without realizing it. And subscribe if you want more EV content that actually makes a difference to your battery and your wallet.